Welcome back to the Electrify podcast, brought to you by the creators of Electrify Expo, North America's largest EV festival, coming to a major city near you. Super excited to have our next guest. I want to know about his relationship with the EV, but our relationship goes back 20 plus years. Meeting this young man in Atlanta in 2004, and he's eBayer. He was an eBayer. That's what he did back in the day. And now he is an absolute legend of a name, like the likes of Prince, Madonna. You just need one name, right? Bono, Cher, and Dai. DAI. That is right. Pretty fly for a Dai guy. Daijiro Yoshihara, thank you so much for joining us here on Electrifying News. Again, all joking aside, we're the same age. He is born on Christmas Eve 45 years ago here in 2023. He crudely reminds me, he's like, bro, we're the same age. We're the same age. I always ask him, and he gets really mad at me. But love to see your face, man. And thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Even digitally, and I know you're just down the freeway here in Southern California. Proud husband, proud father, 2 boys. Right before we hit record, we were just inquiring and catching up on everything, because I feel like we went 0 or like 100 miles an hour pre-COVID, 0 to now we're doing $150, man. And you especially, you thought you were retiring and hanging up your helmet, but I feel like you're wearing your helmet more often than not. But what's keeping Daijiro Yoshihara busy right now?
Well, so I never really retired from driving.
You retired from Formula Drift. Let's clarify.
Yeah. So I've been doing that for like 18 years. So I just wanted to, take a break. But still, other driving, I'm keep doing it. And like you said, I think if anything, I've been driving more than when I was doing FD these days.
So you're working with Pit and Paddock, Ineos Oil. What are some other partners that you work with? Just shameless plug, because I think that anybody listening to this, they want to know more about Daijiro Yoshihara and what your post drift championship. Again, you won in 2011 the championship, and that's something I think you hold near and dear to your heart, because I want to get into that. But what are some of your partners that you work with?
Well, so Pit and Paddock is one of the main one, which is owned by Turn 14 Distribution. They've been supporting my program from FD days. And then I still have Ineos Oil and Yokohama Tires, and there's so many other partners. But mainly this year, I'm doing the TC Americas Racing Series and driving the Pit and Paddock Civic Type or TCX in the series.
It's a mouthful. The TC, yeah, I mean, and again, shameless plug. Again, some of the accolades, Pikes Peak. You're talking about Moto IQ, doing that racing series, Formula Drift for, as you said, 18 years. What aspirations do you have? I'm just going to kind of jump into it. What other aspirations of racing would you like to collect? Because I feel like you're doing a lot of touring car. We spent time at Grid Life, predominantly drifting, but didn't you did at Grid Life double duty one time? Didn't you? You did some racing and some drifting.
You know what? I've never done at the same time. One year I did the time attack with the Evasive Motorsports Ineos Oil 86 in Atlanta, but that was one time, and I didn't bring my drift car that time. So, yeah,
got it. Yeah, like I said, it Grid Life's an amazing event. I know they just had Lime Rock, which is an absolute tremendous event.
I heard.
I don't want to say I had FOMO, but I was at Nitrocross in Utah. And Lime Rock was just popping off. They said it's such a vibe. Circuit Legends had like the top secret, the gold cars out there. They had all the R34s, Chris Kane, Adam LZ, TJ Hunt. They had all their cars out there. For those that don't know, what is Pit and Paddock?
So Pit and Paddock is a company. Well, I guess it's a media/agency owned by Turn 14 Distribution, and Turn 14 Distribution is one of the biggest parts distributor. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
Yeah, so it's basically like a platform to promote they're one of the largest. Turn 14 is massive. Multiple distribution centers. They've grown. They've consumed other companies. And Turn 14 has been, as you say, a partner of Daijiro's for quite some time. So it is cool. Shout out to Sam Do, aka Do Speed, and how they've really use that exactly just as a platform to promote their products. They have an amazing display. Shout out to Greg Park, who has the McLaren and the pink F40, and we won't bring up the pink F40 at Seattle Formula Drift, but I mean, don't remove that. Too soon?
Man.
I've already brought it up in a previous podcast, and it's out there. Just go ahead and look up Pink F40 in Seattle. It's a great platform to promote things. So this is Electrify News. So I kind of jump start because wanted to catch up your fans of what you have cooking, but also want to know your relationship with EV. And obviously, I think would your first introduction be the S2000 that Rywire built, or anything previous to that?
Actually, I've driven the Evasive Motorsports Tesla for
That's
Pikes
right.
Peak, also Time Attack as well. So that was the first one, I guess. And
And
on top of that,
yeah, please.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, please elaborate.
So that's for my racing side. But actually, my wife drives the Tesla Model 3 for daily.
And what do you think of that car? Do you, again, this young man from Japan comes over, links up with Miyoshi, and links up with oh my gosh, I'm spacing on his name, Pacific Rim, Jerry
Very,
Sai. You
yep.
link up with Jerry, and you're building this S chassis, and that's the vehicle you won the championship in 2011. Are you like a combustion kid, down and dirty, SR, RB, 2J? And obviously you had LS vehicle when you won the championship in your S13, which is a big V8. But where do you stack up, and where does your respect and or disrespect towards the
Mhm.
EV land? Where are you at?
Yeah, it's a long story, I guess, but
We got time. That's why it's a podcast. It's long form. So we got about an hour. We got, well, now
okay,
53
okay.
minutes.
Well, so yeah, bottom line, I don't hate it. I mean, I've competed, and I enjoy driving EV. There's a good thing about EV and bad thing about EV. That's in terms of like a racing. And I know like there's a lot of haters, which I don't understand because there's a good side of EV racing too, which is it could be a bad thing, but like people think, oh, it's so boring, like no sound, no shifting. But in the flip side, you can focus on driving. Like you
Hmm.
can just do steering and brake and a gas. You don't have to shift. You don't hear the noise, which means you can concentrate on your vision and the feeling.
Interesting, because it's an it's more of an on off switch, right? And
Yeah.
that's what everybody relates it to. But you and Randy Popst have raced EV up the hill. I
Mhm.
mean, there's been multiple electric cars, notably, obviously, what's his name, the Volkswagen ID. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Roman, right? I mean, he's an absolute weapon, and I think, would that be an advantage for those that don't know Pikes Peak Hill Climb? That's got to be a major advantage given the elevation. When it comes to combustion, you start starving that motor, and you got to think
Mhm.
about your mixture and your fuel and your right, your air fuel ratio. So
Right.
here you are, not compromised at all. How is, because, correct me if I'm wrong, you did have a rear wheel drive vehicle. Tell, what's your relationship like with Pikes Peak, and what vehicles have you raced and up that, and how does that compare?
So before Tesla, we had a Toyota 86 with the 2JZ power. It's about like 800 horsepower to the wheel. But yeah, of course, when you get on the top of the mountain, it
Yeah.
loses quite a bit, like you said, which, that's the nature of Pikes Peak. But the EV, you don't get that. But because we competed with the Tesla, we still couldn't figure the longevity of the battery. Um, so even only if it's a 10 minutes run, but maybe after like halfway through, start losing power because of the battery gets heated, and I think the motor as well. So it's sort of like a limp more kind of thing.
Hmm.
So that was like a downside of using the Tesla. But
So it
I
almost
think,
it gets starved in a different way, not the air fuel
yeah,
ratio, not because of the thinner air given the elevation. It's more of overworking, and that's something we tapped into talking about with Rywire, with Ryan, and
oh, okay,
his,
he
and
knows
so
about
he knows a lot about it, right? Him and BC, and again, Unplugged Performance with the Randy Popes, the plaid, Casa Bonita, Casa Bonita, Tesla. But so it gets, so what you're saying is, and what you're describing is, it's starved in a different way,
it. Yep,
not air fuel ratio, but the efficiency and the heat. It's like your iPhone, right? I mean, we're all guilty of your
right.
phone sitting in the sun, or it's overworking. It's like, nope, not going to work anymore because it gets too hot.
Right, exactly. Which I think the VW car IDR.
Hmm.
I'm sure that they don't have that kind of issue. I'm sure that there is, but it's a lot less. I'm sure it can last a lot longer than Tesla, and so does the Randy's car too. Yeah, it's more
The
like a
unplugged
higher
performance,
performance one.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What
So
what would you like to see as far as like, I guess the question is, progression wise, would you like to tackle Pikes Peak again in the evasive car, given like the technology and the stuff that you know, or is this kind of just beyond evasive scope? Would you like to work with another team? Are you still again, you're racing, doing the TC stuff, but
mm,
what knowing what you know now and your team knowing now, would you like to attack it in an EV vehicle? Or do you see a future in EV racing?
yeah, I do actually. I do wanna. Okay, so this year, last few years. Sorry, going back to my story, we did compete in the 86 2 years, and then the Tesla last 2 years, and then this year we went back to gas power. We use a S2000 this year. We had a little mechanical issue, so we couldn't finish the race, which was unfortunate, but it was still fun. And don't get me wrong, of course, gas power is more fun to me too. But like I said, there's a lot of cool thing about EV, and I think we know, or the evasive guys knows more than before. So I don't think we can compete in a Model 3 at this moment. But let's say somebody figure out to get the Model 3 more longer longevity, then
Hmm.
I think that'll be super dope to go back to Pikes Peak. If the car has the full power from the bottom to the top, I think we can do really quick.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and what's the record you hold at Pikes Peak? I think it was, I looked it up briefly.
My time is 10 minutes 05 with the 86.
Mhm.
So it's okay. I wanted to go sub 10 minutes, but I actually, have spin on, throughout the mountains. So
Yeah, I mean, it's scary. You
yeah.
gotta respect it, man, and do you have doing Pikes Peak over the years, do you have, like, a newfound respect for it, or you just kinda, like, show no respect and you kinda wanna conquer it, or like, looking at the Millens and the Zwarts of the world and, even, Robin Shute, shout out to Robin Shute, who's on Yokohama Tire as well.
There you
I mean,
go.
gosh, he's 3 what, 4 is it 4th or 3rd year in a
Four.
row?
Big four, yeah.
4th. In his Wolf. I mean, dude, he's a ripper. And
Oh,
do you just bow down to those cats, or what, again, respecting the
oh
mountain?
no. But yeah, we gotta respect everything. It's a different type of game. Um, they say mountain decide, which means like you don't know until you really drive. Like there's so many things, altitude, temperature, everything. Like you don't know until that race day. So you have to be like really careful and respectful for everything.
Yeah, my first year I went was I announced the 100th. Myself and Tanner Faust got to announce it, and just
Oh,
being
that's
on the
right. Yeah.
mountain. Yeah, and what a crazy event, because for those that don't know, Pikes Peak, what's the elevation exactly? It's like 10,700 some odd feet or something like
Starting
that.
from like 9,000 something and then ends up the 14,000.
Dude,
Yeah.
I know Larry Chen threw that out at Formula Drift the other day as a trivia question. Somebody nailed it, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
And has such an old school vibe to it, right? It feels a little raw in a very respectful way, in a very kind of, man, this is something special. When people line up, they camp out overnight. Do you like the Pikes Peak experience, or is it just like, man, waking up that early and then you got to get focused, and then you have anticipation, you have excitement, and then it's like, hurry up and wait, because there
Yeah.
might be somebody that does shoot off, and fortunately, we've seen some horrendous accidents, but people walking away from them, and we only sensationalize it because they do that.
Mhm.
Years ago, that Evo going off into was it Devil's Playground? Holy
Yeah.
cow! But walking away unscathed. Do you like that experience of Pikes Peak, or do
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
nervous as hell and
Mine
you're
is
like, I want to
passion.
get out?
No, no, no. Well, of course, sometimes it's like, oh, why am I doing right? Because like you have to wake up every morning like 2:30, super sleepy, and then you have to finish the practice by like 9 a.m. And what am I gonna do after this? It's like a lot of hard working, and then once the race day, something happened to the car, you don't get anything right. So it's very challenging. But
Yeah.
overall, after I look back, it's such a great experience every single time I go there. So it's something I don't think I can quit.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's,
Yeah.
I golf a lot, and I always call I live around the corner from my country club, humble brag. But well, I see it, and I call it the mistress. It's kind of like those that do Baja or like desert racing, right? They call Baja the mistress because it's just this place, this magical place that kind of just sucks you in, and you
Yeah.
go back for more. And it's more about the glory than it is the money, right? And
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, and it's cool that it's a one and done, but it's just like the Olympics, you get 4 years, or for you, it's obviously a year. You really got to train for it. And I know, training both mentally and physically is such a big acumen. How big a role does simulator racing play in your career, Dai?
I think it's really good to um, jumpstart the practice.
Hmm.
But to me, like physics are totally different from the real driving. So it's good to memorize the track. If you go to like some track for the first time, and when I have like practice prior to that, like almost like the very first lap, I can go like 90% because I know where the braking points and what kind of shifting there and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's just more like a little help.
Okay.
And then especially Pikes Peak, um, it does help to memorize the track because there's like 152 turns or four turns or
Uh-huh.
something like that. But to me, still watching somebody's in-car video helps more.
Who
Yeah.
who who's did you whose in car do you enjoy? Either competitors in road race and TC, or even Pikes Peak. Who
Well,
who do you admire?
I watch whatever available in YouTube. Um, in Pikes Peak, like I'm friend with Reese, as you
Yep.
know,
Reese
and
Millen.
yeah,
Yep.
he knows the mountain quite a bit. So I talk to him a lot, and he gave me a lot of pointers. But also, I watch his in-car footage. Not just 1 year. He's been competing multiple years. So, and even like Red Bull, Sebastian Loeb, there's no like real in-car, but you can kind of see what he's doing. But yeah, whatever I can find, and it helps a lot.
So in car as opposed to more
Yeah,
sim stuff. That's interesting, because you're
yeah,
seeing feeding the wheel or certain kind of, and obviously you want to see the telemetry, not just the footwell and the handwork, but you'd love to see kind of the G's and where they're at more than anything, or is that kind of just all of it?
all of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but mainly what kind of line they are
Mm,
taking, and then what kind
okay.
of speed going into the turn, stuff like that. So
You being a father and having your two boys, are they exposed to EV and kind of, maybe, I know, with my son, the Stasic, like the balance bikes, right? They got they rip off, and T-Bone Tyson, my youngest, he's outgrown his now, but they make them bigger. They make 12, 16, 18-inch. I mean, they make all these rad electric toys. Are they getting exposed to it? And do you want them to get involved in motorsports or racing, seeing daddy do this?
mhm. I
Mhm.
haven't really gave them anything like that yet. Actually, they like cars, but not that much. They like just Hot Wheels and Tommy cars and stuff. Um, yeah, right now I'm not forcing them to like racing like me.
Yeah.
And if I want them to get into motorsports, I don't know. I mean, I want them to like because that's my passion, right? I wanted to
Mhm.
share with them, but it's not easy to make a living out of racing industry, as you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not from like rich family, and I'm not rich enough to support them neither. So yeah, it's a tough one. I want them to
Yeah.
enjoy it, but I don't want them to, yeah, like too into about it. There's a lot of different cool stuff, going on. So
Yeah, I think just exposure to it and surrounding them with whatever, like you said, passion. And here's my oldest son, Parker, he's doing some events, he's announcing some things, so that's kind of exciting.
yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
man.
thanks. Yeah, excited. I mean, it's more about Daijiro than it is me. But I mean, you are who you surround yourself with, and if it is marketing and activation, again with Pitt and Paddock and Turn 14, Oil and Yokohama and all your partners, you kind of want to expose them to that. What is your take on EV? What is your stance if you and your wife chose a Tesla Model 3 to save the
Mm.
world or to save a dollar?
You say what?
To save the
War?
world or to save a
War?
dollar? Meaning,
Oh, I
do you
see, I
feel
see.
responsible because we only have one planet, or are you trying to save the pocketbook because you can charge as opposed to um, being obviously at the helm of
Mm.
fuel?
Well, to be honest, not really neither.
Mm,
I mean, of course, I think about, the world and, the gas money as well, but not as much. Um, it's more for like experience. Even like Tesla, we competed in Pikes Peak. It's evasive's decision to use that car, but it's like kind of like these days, last few years, or even more like 5 6 maybe 10 years, EV is becoming bigger and bigger, and it's just growing, right?
hmm
And as a car enthusiast, of course gas is better because sounds good, smells good. That's never gonna go away. But because the world is going into that direction, sooner or later you kind of have to experience that. So that's the reason why we just released the Model 3, which was not that expensive.
Yeah,
So it was good to know, it's almost like a gadget. It's not just a car.
that's a great. I love that.
Yeah,
Wait, it's almost like a gadget.
yeah, it's like an iPhone almost, right?
Wow.
And yeah, the driving is one thing, but you would just go to A to B. For that tool, it's actually really good. It,
Because I mean, contrary to that, you do have a big Chevy truck on TE 37s. So let's be honest, it's pretty fire
right.
too.
Yeah.
You got a big Silverado on some bronze TEs, which my wife works in the wheel industry too, and I'm like, I don't know, bronze TEs, it's real hard to beat. So you're offsetting, right? It's kind of like you work out
Yeah.
to eat bad, right?
Exactly. So if I have to drive only EV, I don't know if I can live with it.
Oh, that's honest. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
That's
for sure. Because I get to drive other race cars, other daily cars, we can have EV, It's a balance for
and
sure.
that's what you said, like there's these haters and you don't know why because it's just that level of education. We're at such a huge tipping point of development, infrastructure, vehicles, it being, for people like you and I, it's about
Mhm.
that engagement, that relationship, that, as you said, that audible, because we're at that cusp. Our children won't know what a CD is. You know what I mean? Like outside, I mean, even video games. My son plays a lot of video games, but it's either a tablet or an Xbox, which you don't even need to have a disc anymore, right?
Mhm.
It's all just downloaded and
Right.
uploaded and upgraded and all that. So, and even the vehicles, right? So here's Tesla doing this remote upgrade, and
Hmm.
it's all about infrastructure and just exposure. So I think our generation, we're kind of this last generation of people that are like, oh, I need to feel it and smell it and all these things. But with Nitrocross, I was again just in Utah, and it's
Hmm.
this, having Connor Daly out there who races IndyCar, and it was the second round. Who else was it? Somebody else. Well, Cletus McFarland was out there, and he got to
Oh,
rip
wow.
around a little bit. Yeah, but it's such a unique sensation. Have you been to Nitrocross yet?
No, I haven't, but I've
Oh,
been
dude.
watching,
Yeah.
this.
Come out to Glen Helen, dude. I got you. Come out to Glen Helen. We'll get you tickets. Would
Cool.
love to see you in a car, man. Let's get Enos Oil wrapping a
Oh.
car. Dude. Oh, look, Travis, I know you're watching. So let's get Daijiro out there. So that being said, it's this quiet car, and you don't hear the, all you hear literally is the gravel machine gun. Yeah, all you
Mm.
hear is the gravel hitting the carbon Kevlar, hitting the fiberglass, hitting the metal, hitting other cars, hitting the exhaust, or there is no exhaust thing. And gotcha. I caught myself there. But hitting all the metal bits. So it is this kind of, it's an
Oh,
experience, but yeah.
in a way, you hear other noise that you don't hear from the gas vehicle, I guess, right?
hmm
Is that cool though? To be honest, like you think, okay, let's say if the car has engine sounds, is it even better on top of the 1,000 horsepower, whatever they have? Or
Some people love sleeping. They can't go to sleep unless they have the white nose of a fan. Some people can't sleep if they don't have the clanking of a subway. some people can't sleep if there's one little light on, right? But some people need complete
Right.
darkness. Some people need the neon glow.
Mhm.
So I think it's absolutely personal preference. So if
Interesting.
you know, if you have the Calm app, you know, you might like a Tesla. You know, you know, like I'm saying that because you might like the white noise. You might want to be aware of your surroundings.
I see.
And so with that so I mean, it's great because here you are experiencing, and again, there's so many that have both, you know, combustion on Pikes Peak and EV on Pikes Peak. Just ask you, which do you prefer? Like you said, is it cool?
Yeah. I
What
like
what's your answer?
I
What's
said
your answer?
gas.
Which one do you prefer, combustion or EV going up the mountain, and how does that compare?
Well, you're talking just about going up the hill?
Oh, I'm talking about the noises. Driving a combustion vehicle, and you got this, and you
Oh,
got the loud noises, and you got the 2J, which is by no means a quiet engine. I mean, they're all wound up, but and then running the EV, which you're going to hear a lot more of the grip or loss of grip. I don't know, which one do you prefer? Because you asked me, is it cool? I'm asking you, is it cool?
well, I still prefer hearing the engine sound, especially like 2JZ or something cool. It,
Yeah.
kind of motivates you, right? When you're driving and you hear that cool noise, that's actually like push me to drive harder in a way. But on the flip side, on driving on the EV, like I say, I can concentrate on some other stuff. So that's good and bad. But if I have to pick one, of course, I will pick engine sound
Combustion.
for sure.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah, just getting that loud exhaust, the pop,
Yeah.
again, you're just getting all the other elements just a lot louder. And again, well, guess what? I mean, look, Daijiro's here for it, man. He's ready to get loud. What are some other aspirations in the EV world that maybe you've thought about? Is it, you know, I don't know if you ride two wheels motorcycles like a live wire or something like that.
No, I used to, but not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's very responsible of you. I know it's usually like the kids come, the bike goes away, and then the kids get older, and then you get a bike. That's kind of normally the ebb and flow of it. What are some other aspirations in the EV world that you have, or something that
Mm,
you're like, wow, that's really cool, going to Electrify Expo or going to because you're going to LA Auto Show or Detroit Auto Show, or you're like, wow, that's really cool. Either be the Silverado being traded in for a Rivian or Cybertruck or something else? Is there anything else that kind of stands out in your mind in the EV world that you get excited about?
I don't really have anything more than, like I said, we have a Tesla Model 3 for my wife's daily. I think we will keep that car um, as an EV because she only drives like within like 5 to 10 miles just to go to school, drop off, and just grocery shopping, stuff like that, which
Mm,
is good for that vehicle. But I still like to drive regular car. To me, tow truck, you know, pick up the parts for something. I need a pickup, right?
yeah.
And I don't see to have an EV truck that doesn't still, click me yet.
I
So,
like this. This is very honest because you're not tied to any manufacturer, are
no,
you?
no, that's the
See,
beauty.
I think that's what's really great about this because you've kind
Yeah,
of driven it all. Again, your drift car, you S13, S13, Lexus.
yeah,
Hate to bring that up for a moment, and then S chassis. Um, oh yeah, and you ended with was it a BRZ? Yeah, it was
BRZ,
BRZ.
yeah.
Oh gosh, what a unique and talk about what's funny is right. It was like the oddest sounding turbo LS, I think in the paddock, dude. That was so,
And it was
I mean,
quiet too.
it was so weird, and for,
I know.
Kojima to be on your team and not be loud is just I mean, Kojima's a quiet person, but usually his cars are louder than him. I saw him in, St. Louis at Formula Drift, and we had
Oh, cool.
multiple adult libations, and he got really spirited, so shout out to Kojima. An absolute legend, right? I mean, do
Yeah,
you still work with Mike?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just talked to him yesterday too.
Yeah, you guys going to shooting guns or what?
No, I don't shoot guns that often, but he does.
Yeah, I know he's very him and his daughter are absolutely talented.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to, BJ Burtwell, president and founder of Electrify Expo. He says, Jared, we're shifting gears on this podcast, and
Mm,
again, as I told you, it's about EV, not exclusively, but it
yeah.
dabbles into that, and it is about progression because people that are engaging with EV, it's this tipping point, right?
Mm,
Because as you are kind of alluding to, is there are haters of it, but it's just education.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you think about back in the day, fuel eventually needed to be transported by horses and buggies to get, you know what I'm saying? Like there was that tipping point there. So
Yeah.
here we are, you know, again, people saying, hey, you need gas to run generators to charge things to do right. So, and hydrogen, you know, that's obviously just another whole aspect of what's
Right.
going on. So you know, we talk about your aspirations of doing more racing. Is there anything else on the horizon as far as outside of TC or any other racing that you'd like to participate in, or anything that excites you, either it be nitrocross or Formula E, or anybody tapping you?
No, not at the moment yet, but yeah, I'm open to do anything, as far as the driving stuff. So right now my focus is a touring car race, but also I still do drifting demo right along. Actually, I'm going to FD Utah. I don't know if you heard about it yet.
That's right. I did. I
Yeah, yeah.
I,
So
I
we do
did see
some
that.
ride-alongs.
What
So
what car is that in?
the BRZ, the same car that
Wait.
I competed in 2021 for my last season.
Yeah. Yeah. What else? So where else can we see you, or what's going on in regards to, I'm going to look at your Instagram and see what's cracking over here, because that's always a good indicator. But anything else that you have cooking?
That and we're gonna do a global time attack,
Okay.
and we'll do 25 hours of Thunderhill
Oh,
with the
awesome.
Spoon Sports new FL5 Type R,
Okay.
and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then SEMA, you like last year I built 3 cars for SEMA, but this year I don't really have a bill.
Yeah.
But I'm hosting the Pit and Paddock and Enos Oil does some contest. They're
Hmm.
gonna they're gonna give a 1 car space for SEMA. So if you're building some car but you don't have a space or the place to display your car,
Display your car. Yeah. Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm just hosting that. So which is cool. I'm still gonna be at the SEMA, and I'm sure I will see you there as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm always there. I'm looking at the beach days with Dai Yoshihara ripping ripping the EVS tuning Tesla around Long Beach. And whose car is that? So EVS tuning, they just let you go take that. I mean, that's it's got to be hot in that dang thing.
Oh, it was. Yeah. There's no AC.
There's no AC, and
Unfortunately.
you got Lexan windows with just a little
Yeah.
slide on it.
Can't really open the whole thing. But that was hard. But yeah, that was a cool content that me and Yokohama make. Actually, we're making some stuff like that coming up. So if you can check
Yeah.
my Instagram,
Right. Shout out to Candace over at Yokohama.
oh, yeah,
I know she's a great supporter of yours and the whole Yokohama team. Um, Yeah, Pit and Paddock, Ineos Oil, SEMA Show Car Contest. Yeah, so there's a great plug right here. Like you said, ever wanted to have your car on display at the SEMA Show? Now is your chance. Pit and Paddock, Ineos Oil, SEMA Show Car Contest. Yeah, I'll be out there hosting the new products breakfast, the banquets, and tacking down some other things, and also SEMA Fest is going down. So we're
right.
excited for that. So you have what's this R33? Is that yours, or do you have that in conjunction
Yeah,
with
my
Grady?
it's my car, and it was one of the build we did last year, corroborated with the Grady and Top Rank plus Turn 14 distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beauty, right?
That thing's so sick. What are those works on there? What do we got here? What are we working with? Yeah, I know I've seen the car, but we never really talked about it. And this is just like we're getting. Oh, that's sick. I was just looking at the Turn 14 hood and fenders hanging at Turn 14. I did bring it
Oh
up on the top of the show. Again, you have the Enos Oil S2000, but did you ever drive the Rywire S2000, the electric one, the Turn 14 vehicle?
no, I haven't.
Okay.
Actually I've been asking Ryan, whenever it's ready, let me drive. But yeah, I would love to drive that.
Right. No,
Yeah,
it's and oh yeah, because yeah, you did. I'm just looking again at some more stuff. The truck, the Turn 14 truck. That was just a project car, or was that?
yeah, that was
Do you
a
have
project car.
do you have aspirations of actually racing down in Baja or anything like that? Desert racing?
If I have opportunity, yeah, anytime I
Yeah.
would like to try. But Yeah, that's another thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, does because you're sponsored by Pit and Paddock and Turn
Yeah.
14. Are you an employee, or do you kind of work alongside Sam as well, or just purely on racing and projects and you're kind of their test pilot?
Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah, test pilot. I don't really work for them, but I do work with them a lot.
They're massive, man.
Contract, I would say.
Yeah, they've absolutely blown up, and it's really cool to see them take you along for the ride because,
Oh
like,
yeah.
again, we had that conversation when you did announce, hey, I'm gonna hang on my helmet. Like you said, you did 18 years of Formula Drift.
Yeah.
Vaughn came back. What do you make?
Oh yeah.
What do Vaughn came back and wins. How cool was that? So,
Dude, that was so dope. I
right?
texted right away actually.
Did you?
Yeah, because and especially that final was him and Forsberg. It's like yeah, like it can be better than that.
Right?
That
And
was
what is you being on the outside to cut you off, you being on the outside looking in, does it make you want to come back? Or you're like, nah, I'm good. I love it. Do you love being a spectator, or do your hands get sweaty and you're like, give me a steering wheel, give me a car. I want to crush some souls.
it's actually half and half. Yeah, it was super cool to watch. That's for sure. But if I can do it, like if I come back right now, if I can do the same thing, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
He's very competitive. I was very admire him. Yeah, that was really cool driving.
so what, you don't think you got it anymore or what? I'm gonna put you
I
on the
do,
spot,
I
man.
do.
Okay. Well,
I
again,
still do. Part of me I do, but at the same time, there's so many things, right? The car needs to be like 100%. I need some cruise, and yeah, it's just not easy,
yeah.
And he knew, and he still did it. That's why I was like, damn, yeah, that was a dope moment.
Right? Campaigning three vehicles, four drivers, obviously splitting a season. He just absolutely just decimated everybody. Like you said, very sentimental was the word that I thought of.
Oh yeah,
Poetic.
we've been talking each other. I think, right?
Yeah.
I think we were talking on a text.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just so sentimental to
you
think
were
that.
crying actually.
Oh, dude, I did. Well, I did cry.
You
I
did,
forgot about
yeah, I
that thing.
remember that.
You know what? You know me. I mean, you know me.
Yeah,
I'm a
you're
big softie,
emotional,
dude.
right?
Oh, dude, your eyes are moisturizing. Yeah, I got real sentimental for those that don't know. Formula Drift, we in 2023, we're celebrating 20 years. And again, Daijiro Yoshihara was the day one driver, hung his helmet up after 18 years of competition. But this year in Atlanta, which is the birthplace, 2004, we had this idea. We had 4 rounds of
Right.
competition. Fast forward to this 2023 season, Von Gittin Jr., who's been on this podcast before. The final round is Chris Forsberg and Von Gittin Jr. That's who was in the finals in 2004. Chris eventually ended up winning. Vaughn got second. And here we are 20 years later, same location, but so proud to see Vaughn sponsored by Ford, Chris working with Nissan, their respective, energy drink companies, NOS, Monster. I mean, just crazy. And then I look to my right, and there's my son, who's now 17.
Yeah.
He wasn't even around then. He wasn't even a
Well,
glimmer in our
that's not even
eye. And
existed.
he's down working at the Rockstar Energy booth, which used to be on Rockstar, and Rockstar is the official energy drink of Formula Drift. And I was just overwhelmed with emotion because of
Mm,
look at selfishly what drifting has done for me and allowed us to have this conversation right now and to
yeah.
tap in. BJ Burtwell worked at Mopar. He was there in 2004, with Sam Hubinet and the Dodge Viper team, who
Right.
runs and owns Electrify Expo. So here's this motorsport that has been so impactful, and so many people thought it was a fad. And correlating to EV, there was, Travis Reeder, who did campaign an electric vehicle for
Mm,
half a season, and they went through that rigmarole. But I'm sure you get this as well. You get emotional and sentimental about, holy cow, look what I'm able to do. Here's this kid from, you know, out in Japan. And remind me, are you like a country boy, or were you like a city boy?
I'm from Tokyo, but countryside of Tokyo, so I would say
Okay.
both.
Because you were talking about Daigo's more of a country boy, right?
Well, yeah, kind of, a
Kind of
little
like
bit.
yourself.
It's kind of same though. Like
Okay.
distance to like downtown Tokyo from my hometown and his hometown is pretty much the same. So
Okay. I say
yeah,
that because it's like here you are again, meeting you and partying with Forsberg and Tony Angelo and Von Gittin Jr. You were adopted by Drift Alliance, by those guys, and partying and hanging out. And
Yeah.
traveling all over the world. Again, going to Monterey and going to Milwaukee and just all these particular demos. And it's kind of the in between, right? Where you're like, holy cow! And now here you are, supported, doing your things. Do you ever get sentimental like that and just think like, holy, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Like when you look back, certain moment, like wow. And definitely the final between, yeah, going back to that conversation, but the JR and Chris, I'm not even involved on that. I was just watching the live stream, but the fact that I was one of them at one point, to think that was really dope. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and just at that birthplace, that track, Vaughn Gittin Jr. splits time with Adam LZ. He's now finishing out the rest of the season. He'll do the remaining rounds of Utah and obviously Irwindale, and it would be really crazy if he won another round. But man, RTR's on a tear. They had that three in a row between
Yeah.
Vaughn, Chelsea, and Adam LZ. James Dean, who's three-time champion, he has yet to capture one in his RTR Mustang, but. So you're again. Have you been to Electrify Expo yet?
Nope, I
Okay.
haven't.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we gotta have you out at one. And Super 73s, one wheels. There's so many different ways you can engage with
Mm.
electrification, and that's what it's all about as well. Have you ridden a one wheel? Have you ridden? I mean, I know you and Steph Papadakis are, going and riding bikes and doing some stuff. Do you ever get on like an EV bike, or do you have kind of a cruise or anything like
No,
that?
not really.
No.
Nope.
I again, this is why I kind of I'm going to have people on this podcast that have never even driven a Tesla or driven an electric car, and I think
Mm.
that's just that exposure level or your relationship with EVs, and I remember the first time I drove one, and it's really sensational, and just how you engage with the car. But I think the biggest soundbite that we got from you here today is that your Tesla is a gadget, and I think that's a great perspective because
Okay.
I think that it's exclusive to you. I think you need to be unapologetic about it because, like I said, yeah, you're racing a Honda or an Acura, and yeah, you're you know working with you're not exclusive to anybody outside of your partners, which is Trend 14, which is all encompassing Ineos Oil and Yokohama Tires. I think that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't have to be a bias about it. I can be open for any manufacturer. So I like Honda, Toyota, Tesla. Yeah.
Call me right there. You go. And we can talk. We can
I
talk
think
about this.
so. Yeah.
Who's somebody you admire kind of in the racing world that you like their path? Either it be you talk about Reese, he's a great friend of ours. Anybody else that you kind of admire that's navigated a fairly similar, maybe not so much drifting, but road racing and climbs and kind of doing all of it. Is there somebody you admire as far as I really like that style, or they could be older, they could be younger, they could be same age?
I don't really have particular
No.
person, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, that's
Mhm.
fair. That's
Yeah, yeah. For the Pikes Peak, for sure, Reese and Rod, they're the guys that, yeah, I look up to. Um, in drifting, Max Orido, he's one of my good friend. He does drifting. He does Super GT, and yeah, actually, yeah,
Yeah, there you go. See, I was just gonna say he might be your guy.
yeah. He grew up in like a mountain road, and kind of, I'm kind of trying to follow his path in a way. But I started road racing, way later than he does, so I don't know where I can go from there on, but we'll see.
Yeah, Manabu Max Orito, if you don't know who he is. And didn't he do NASCAR even? He tried NASCAR for it
Yeah,
might not have been Cup, but I think it was like obviously just a lower level, but he did come over and race NASCARs as well.
yes, he did in like late 90s or early 2000. For sure he did. He got on fire. It's on auction video if you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, didn't he have fire on his race suit, which is kind of a bad omen too? And didn't he have, or no, who am I thinking? Yeah,
Oh, you're
he had,
thinking about,
he had
yeah.
fringe. He had
Yeah.
fringe on his race suit. He opened it
Yeah.
up and
It's
he,
like
and he
Presley kind of thing.
the comeback special. Yeah, the Elvis. Yeah,
And he got
Max
the
is a
cowboy
pirate.
hat.
Oh, dude, Max is a pirate, man. That guy.
He actually loved American culture like I did. Yeah, that's why he likes to do NASCAR. He like to wear that kind of costume.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. Well, Daijiro, you're obviously just such a fine young gentleman. I say young gentleman because I give
I'm not
myself
like
that.
you
Look,
know.
I'm giving this is self-serving right now.
Okay, okay.
We're fine young gentlemen. We are both
Yes.
the same age. As I said, I'll end it how I started it. You always throw shade that I forget your birthday, but
Yes. Now you remember my
December
birthday.
24th. My mom's on the
Yes.
Christmas. My mom's on Christmas actually.
Oh wow, I
Um,
didn't know
yeah, yeah. See, you don't even ask, dude. You don't even ask, Daijiro.
that.
I'm joking. Absolutely love your company. Love, everything you got going on. Any way I can help you, I'm here. And just don't let Sam drive your F40 when you get one. Anything
Wow.
else you want to add in regards to where they can find more information about you or what's going on? And again, we talked about your TC,
Yeah.
Pikes Peak getting back up there, Pit and Paddock, Turn 14, Ineos Oil, Yokohama Tires. What else?
Wow, you cover pretty much everything, man. Thanks a lot. Just thank you for having me here today. And yeah, just please follow my Instagram, and we'll see everything, I guess.
Yeah.
And the next event I'm going is FD Utah, so I would like to see many people out there, and I will see you there for sure, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there. Yeah, I'm headed over. I'm actually on I'm headed to World Time Attack Challenge. So
You are?
I'm headed to Australia. I'm announcing drifting over
Oh,
there. So
that's
I'm
next week, right?
yep. Yep. I mean, pending on I think this will air. I think this will air. Yeah. So when this airs, it'll be this weekend. So but
This
we
weekend.
obviously pre-record these. So but
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying. But yeah, September 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And
Oh
they got
wow.
drifting. So I'm gonna be out there announcing drifting and doing some social for Momo, doing some social for Momo, which is steering wheels and wheels and all that. So I'll be over there
Okay.
doing that. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun. So be sure to tune in. World Time Attack Challenge. Ryan Turk's going over there. He's taking the Formula Supra.
Yeah.
Ferris, who has that Momo Corvette, which is an absolute weapon. We'll see if some Americans come over and twist the screws on some Japanese and some Aussie and some international drivers, baby.
Yeah.
Do you pull for Japanese or American drivers?
For time attack for sure American, because I don't compete in Japan. Yeah.
You're American. Did you ever Did you get your citizenship for
No,
America?
still green card. I still
Okay.
have a Japanese citizenship, but for the time attack, I grew up in the U.S. time attack industry, so I don't. I support
There you
Americans.
go.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate it. Well, thank you so much. Jarod Yoshihara. You could find his Instagram, DAI, and then go ahead and spell out Yoshihara. So thank you so much, Dai Yoshihara. As we are that's a wrap, man. Thank you so
All
much.
right, that's a wrap. Thank you, guys.
My brother. Peace. Thanks for listening to the Electrify podcast, brought to you by the creators of Electrify Expo. Be sure to catch full video episodes on YouTube at Electrify TV and follow along on social media for daily clips and more.